knowing that there is no situation in your life that God cannot handle. Let's worship Him this morning. Heaven thundered and the world was born. Life begins and ends in the dust you form. Faith commanded and the mountains move. Fear is losing ground to a hope in you. name shall be done. Shall be done. What happens when we start to believe that nothing is impossible with God? There's a lot of Christians I know that look at the world and they think that there is no hope for change. They think that the enemy is bigger than God. They think that there's no way that abortion can be abolished in our nation. Oh. They think that there's no way for the church to stand up against wrong government. And they think it's an impossible situation. But if you read in the Word of God, God changed nations. Yep. He changed empires with one person's belief. Read the story of Daniel. King Darius was the king of the Babylonian Empire. It was a world empire. A heathen empire. They did not worship God. They had many gods. In fact, they treated the king as God also. But because of Daniel's faith and because of Daniel's prayer life, Darius became a believer. Because of 3 dudes that refused to bow down to a world system, King Nebuchadnezzar became a believer, also king of the Babylonian Empire. I want you to hear something. We're coming up in the time of elections here in just a few weeks. As believers, as Christians, we have not just a right, but a mandate to vote in alignment with God. There are some major things that are happening right now against the abortion movement, and it's being effective. And so I want you guys to understand, if you want to know more, you can go online and look up how to vote in accordance with pro-life. And there's information. Some of you might, if you're a registered voter, might have gotten a pamphlet in your mailbox that actually says this is how to vote in order to vote for pro-life. So there's purposeful things that we can do to stand for what's morally right in our faith and to declare that God is the Lord of this nation. Jesus is the King of this nation. And that the tide is turning and that things are shifting. And if you have allowed unbelief in your heart, and if you have allowed doubt in your heart to believe that God cannot change this nation, then I would ask us to repent this morning and get a new thought. I would ask us to stand and step into a belief system that says nothing is impossible for God. And you must look at your own situations in your own life and say, there is no way it can happen. I'm sorry, but that is not in God's vocabulary. That is not a belief system that God holds, and it's not a part of the kingdom of heaven. There is nothing that is impossible for God. Nothing that is impossible for God. And if you will begin to believe, if it's too hard to believe it for yourself, start believing it for other people. And then believe it for yourself. Because we need to get our minds transformed to align ourselves with the way God thinks, with how His kingdom works, with His nature and His character and His power and His strength. Because let me tell you, we serve an unstoppable God. I don't know if you just recognize what you just said for 5 minutes. We serve an unstoppable God. That means nothing can stop Him. Nothing can stop Him. Nothing can keep Him away. If you think your enemy is bigger than your God, then you're serving the wrong God. Or you just don't know how big God is. Because let me tell you, the enemy has nothing on God. There's no comparison. He doesn't get a vote. He doesn't even get to stand in the courtroom. I want our faith to take a giant leap this morning. I want our belief systems to take a giant leap this morning. And I want you to think ridiculous thoughts about transformation in your own life and in the lives in your city, and in your nation. And I want us to step into a higher level of thinking, a divine reasoning, so that we begin to think what the Lord is thinking. And we begin to have the thoughts that He's thinking about ourselves, about other people, and about this world. Amen? Amen. If you truly believe that you serve an unstoppable God, I would ask you to stand up right now if you're not already. You are still impossible situation that the Israelite army was facing. They were facing an army bigger than theirs with a giant that they didn't have. And the entire army of hundreds of thousands of men were completely shaken by one loud giant. Stinky, obnoxious giant. And one little boy who had been loving on Jesus out in the field, abandoned by his parents, treated like a slave. Was writing songs to the Lord, was trusting in God to deliver him from wolves and lions and bears as he took care of his biological father's flock. Even though his biological father treated him as a worthless one, a slave. David came to a place in his life where he began to believe God in the face of the most dire situations. When his life was on the line, when people were trying to kill him, when animals were trying to kill him, when giants were laughing at him. And I want to read Psalm 20:17 this morning. I'm going to read out of the Passion Translation, but I want you to just listen to the heart of David and his confidence in the Lord. The Lord is my revelation light to guide me along the way. He is the source of my salvation to defend me every day. I fear no one. I fear nothing. I'll never turn my back and run from you, Lord. So surround and protect me. When evil ones come to destroy me, they will be the ones who turn back. My heart will not be afraid, even if an army rises to attack me. I know that you are there for me, so I will not be shaken. Here's the one thing I crave from God. The one thing I seek above all else. I want the privilege of living with him every moment in his house. Finding the sweet loveliness of his face, filled with awe, delighting in his glory and grace. I want to live my life so close to him that he takes pleasure in my every prayer. In his shelter in the day of trouble, that's where you'll find me. For he hides me there in his holiness. He has smuggled me into his secret place, where I'm kept safe and secure, out of reach from my enemies. Triumphant now, I will bring him my offerings of praise, singing and shouting with ecstatic joy. Yes, listen, and you can hear the fanfare of my shouts of praise to the Lord. God, hear my cry. Show me your grace. Show me your mercy. And send me the help that I need. Lord, when you said to me, seek my face, my inner being, my spirit responded, I'm seeking your face with all of my heart. So don't hide yourself, Lord. I'm coming to find you. You're the God of my salvation. How can you reject your servant in anger? You've been my only hope. So you won't forsake me now when I need you. My father and my mother abandoned me. I'm like an orphan, but you took me in and made me yours. Now teach me all about your ways and tell me what to do next. Make it clear for me to understand, for I'm surrounded by waiting enemies. Don't let them defeat me, Lord. You can't let me fall into their clutches. They keep accusing me of things that I've not even done. And while they plot evil against me, yet I totally trust you to rescue me one more time. I totally trust you to rescue me once again, so that I can see once again how good you are while I'm still alive. is the last verse, and I want you to hold on to this. Here's what I've learned through it all. Say, through it all.
Through it all.
Through it all. See, God takes us through the valley of the shadow of death. God doesn't leave you in the valley. God doesn't leave you in the flood. God doesn't leave you in the fire. He takes you through it. Say, through it all.
Through it all.
Say, through it all.
Through it all.
Say, I'm going through it all.
Through it all with the
Say,
Lord.
the Lord is taking me through it all.
Let's go, Jesus. Through it all.
Here's what we learned. Don't give up. Don't be impatient. Be entwined as one with the Lord. Be brave and courageous. And never lose hope. Yes, keep on waiting, for He will never disappoint. Through it all. Through it all.
Through it all, Lord.
I do not give up. I am not impatient. I am entwined as one with the Lord. I am brave and courageous. I never lose hope.
I never lose hope.
I keep on waiting.
I keep on waiting.
For He will never disappoint me. That's verse 14, and I want to encourage you to take time today and meditate on that verse. Chapter 27 of Psalm, verse 14. About what is God depositing in you through the valley. See, He takes us through the valley or through the flood or through the fire in order to put something in us that we're going to need. I love what Graham Cook says. Graham Cook says, don't look at your problems as anything but possibilities. These are opportunities. And what is God? He says it this way. What is God giving you permission to become in the flood, in the fire, in the trial, in the valley? What is He giving you permission to become? Is He giving you permission to become an overcomer? Is He giving you permission to become a lover of God? Someone who trusts without wavering? Someone who endures beyond any other thing? Someone who decides to praise God when the world says, shame God? What is He giving you permission to become? What is He wanting to give you as an upgrade in your life today as you're standing in the flood or in the fire or in the valley? Because you're not stuck there. He's taking you through it. He's got His hand on you. He upholds you with His righteous right arm. There is nothing impossible for God. Nothing impossible for God.
Slavery that doesn't kill him. Oppression that doesn't kill him.
Right.
Water doesn't get Moses. Fire doesn't get Moses. A desert doesn't get the whole people of Israel.
Right.
Giants, sorry, too bad. David. Okay, everybody's after that poor guy. Absolutely everybody. Are you getting the point?
So we've been going through, on Sunday mornings, we've been going through biblical history and the purpose that God reveals through the lives of people and how our purpose is connected to what God has revealed in history. It's a very powerful thing when you begin to look at what God has done with other men. And if you read in Hebrews 11, you'll understand that these were ordinary men. They weren't supernatural, they just had a supernatural God. And you have the same supernatural God. The way God was with Joseph, He's with you. The reason He needed to be with Joseph is because Joseph had to do impossible things. Impossible things. And God's with you the same way. He's with me the same way. To do the supernatural. To do the impossible. You may not know, I like this statement, you may not know what your purpose is or what it is that you're supposed to do because you're being asked to do something that's been never done before. I don't know if you caught that. Your assignment from the Lord is something that has never been done before. It's that big. It's that powerful. It's that transformational if you'll begin to believe it. If you'll begin to believe it. And if you'll not just look at the stories in the Bible as something that God did with someone a long time ago, but actually giving you permission to do the very same level of things. Maybe not the same things, but the same level of things. My goals are many. sacrifice. Come through always, 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 always. God, I look to you, and I won't be overwhelmed. Give me vision to see things like you do. God, I look to you, I won't be overwhelmed. Give me vision to see things like you do. God, I look to you, you're where my help comes from. Give me wisdom, 'cause you know just what to do. God, I look to you, I won't be overwhelmed. Give me vision to see things like you do. God, I look to you, you're where my help comes from. Give me wisdom, 'cause you know just what to do. And I will love you, Lord, my strength. I will love you, stripped from his hands. And that is death and the grave. The two biggest weapons the enemy uses against us is fear and discouragement. The ultimate fear is the fear of death. And the ultimate discouragement is that all we have is the grave. There's nothing left. But we have a victorious King named Jesus that conquered death and the grave. He conquered hell and set us free so that we will not taste death the way those outside of Christ taste death. That we would not see and experience hell, but we would be ushered into eternity with our glorious King. We have communion in the back, and that's what we do when we take communion. We celebrate the death, burial, and the resurrection of our King. Because the resurrection shows that God is more powerful than the devil.
Yes.
Not even the greatest weapon the enemy had was even able to shake the Son of God. They just used them to get what they wanted. How's that feel, enemy? You're a chump. You were used by God to save the whole world. How does that feel? So what we do now is we get to celebrate the life that Christ has given us. And I invite you, as we finish up this time of worship, to take time to commune with the Lord. If you have an offering that you would like to bring to the Lord this morning, we have buckets up front. It's just a way of declaring your trust and your faith. It's a way of partnering with God to say, God, I don't know how you're going to meet my needs, but I'm putting you first. I'm trusting you. And your word tells me to sow a seed so I can reap a harvest. So I want you to understand that when you sow a seed in tithes and offerings, you're partnering with a law of the universe that God put in place, that what you sow when you comes back to you bigger. You don't plant an apple seed and get one apple. No, you get an apple tree that gives you apple, season after season, year after year. That's the way it is with the Lord. You sow into Him, and it begins to come back to you. It's the only thing God says to Testament. See what I'll do. See what I'll do. So Lord, we glory in your Son Jesus, and we thank you for the cross. We thank you for the victory and the resurrection life that you imparted to us. We thank you that we've now been given Christ's righteousness and holiness that empowers us to live holy. It empowers us to choose life. It empowers us to be transformed by the renewing of our mind. It empowers us to walk in the same authority as Jesus Christ did, representing the Father to the world, representing the kingdom, showing the world the kingdom of heaven. That's our identity, that's our purpose, that's our calling. We glory in the cross, Jesus. For it ultimately set us free. The life you gave, your body was broken, and your love poured out. You bled and you died for me there on the cross. You breathed your last as you were crucified. You gave it all for me. Hallelujah, what a Savior. Hallelujah, what a friend. Hallelujah, King forever. You made us wise. Hallelujah. It is finished. Hallelujah. It is done. Hallelujah. King forever. Jesus. We thank you for the cross. Jesus. We thank you for the cross. We thank you for the Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. May we live obedient. May we walk in boldness and courage. May we believe higher than we did. Let us love today the way you love. Thank you, Lord. Stretch out your hands and bless your neighbor this morning. The Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord smile down on you and show you his kindness. May the Lord answer your prayers and give you his peace. May the Lord cover you with his name. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Hallelujah. We're going to have a great day. Amen. If you're able to, join us for Celebrate Recovery tonight at 6:30. It's going to be a powerful time of connection, and of revival, of transformation. And God is good. Amen.